our record, and I'll share my screen again. Okay, so here we are again, continuing. So now the user is logged in, and you can see it showing that, okay, yes, welcome John and order. Okay, because he is now logged in. Login is true. Okay, so what I'm just trying to show you is how you can pass variables and use these variables to control what your HTML is also going to display. Of course, everything we are doing does not look fine. If you look at it, it just looks text. Typically, no website looks like this. It looks more beautiful. Why is it more beautiful? It's because of the styling applied to the website. Yeah, that's why you talk about the CSS and your JavaScript. Now, those ones also will be linked to your file here. You see, we can link, style sheets can be linked to HTML. Anywhere you store them, you choose where you want to store your style sheets. It could be in the templates, it could be somewhere else, but you have to link them to your documents like it's done for websites and more. You link the styling. You could have inline styling where you push the style. I can put a style in this element. If I want it to be blue, for instance, I could say,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So no need to go there. I believe you know it. You can put a style into this, and you can also put a style in the heading. So then the other way you can put this is another file, or link the file to this document. Just the normal way you do it in HTML for your JavaScript and your CSS. Once you
Mhm.
put all of those, when the page is displayed, when it's rendered, it will bring in all those effects and look the way you want it to look. So for now, we are just talking about Flask. We are just focusing on the technicalities of Flask. How, for instance, now you could have something like this that check if a user is logged in and shows some things when he's logged in. When he's not logged in, shows something else. You could also list items out using for loop. That's also what we're trying to bring out here. You pass variables from our application, our Flask app, to the template, and it gets displayed. But how the template displays beautifully in terms of styling and JavaScript for other effects, you can design that one anyhow you want, but you link them in your HTML file in normal way, and that's it. So we will now talk about what I call template inheritance. So now, if I have this as my base page, for example, okay, this is my base page. I mean, save it. Then I want to design a page for contacts. Okay, I will come and put another page, a contact. Contact.html. So I have a contact page or HTML. Maybe I'll come to base, highlight everything, copy. I'll come to my contacts, I place it. Then I erase things that pertains to base, right? And then I'll come here and say, this is our contact page. So this is another page. Now I have a second HTML page. If I go back to my template, also in the same way, I may have the root for contact. So maybe to get to contact, you have to come to /contact. Okay, that's where you go to contact. And now I have the function for contact, and this function now I'll just return render template and pass contact.html. Okay, so if I save it, go back to the browser. So this is our home page. Hopefully if I do slash con, okay, sure, sorry, where's the home page slash contact, which is what we did in the last class. So you see, this is our contact page. This is another page. Okay. Now we want to talk about template inheritance. You can see that I basically copied everything between the base page and the contact page. Many things are copied. Okay. Many things are repeated. And of course, if I had other um, designs already put in place, this is also very simple. Maybe if I had some divs and all those things, you find out that I'm basically repeating myself. If I create a third page, okay, if I create a third page, I'll come copy, maybe from this page, I'll copy it, go and then um, edit it to suit that page. And I keep doing that every time. Now, that is not good for programming, because in programming, we try to follow a programming principle called DRY, DRY. Do not repeat yourself. Whenever you can, try your best not to repeat. In fact, anytime you're repeating code, you need to know that there's a problem and say, okay, how can I, once you're copying and pasting the same code, you have to pause. Oh no, this is repetition. How can I avoid repeating it? So there are other programming, you begin to now, think of ways not to repeat yourself. Like in this case, we are repeating this thing, and which is not good. If we have several pages that have things in common, okay, like maybe a banner, we'll come to that, okay, that have a banner that is the same. In fact, at this point, let me bring in a banner so that it will be more clear. So now we'll come back to this. Previously was our home page, but we are going to design, I call the base.html. So let me bring another page for home. Let me call it home.html. HTML. And I'll keep the base page. So in my home page now is where I want all of these things to happen, which I kept here in the base. So I'm going to cut them out. Cut. Sorry. So this is our base page. Now, when I go to home using Flask, there's a way to help us to repeat avoid repeating some of this code. And that's where we are going to put in this line. Extend. Extend base.html. Okay. And then I skipped a step. So let me just go back a bit and do it. So in base.html, when I removed all of those things, I'm supposed to put in a block. Okay. You can basically call the block whatever you want to call it. Okay. You can basically call the block whatever you want to call it, but let me call it content. Then it will also have an end block. So also have an end block. So we are going to have in our base now, because we're trying to create a base HTML from which other pages are going to inherit certain aspects that are common. Now, I put in this block content. In this aspect, you can actually even call it body, for instance, here. The key thing is it has to be block body or block content, whatever you call it. So I've created a content, a body block now, for example, here in this base page. Now, how do I use this body block? When I come to home, which I'm creating, I'll have the same block and I call it body. So like this, then I have end block. Now, in this session, I will put all those codes, right? These are the codes that I copied, which were what were in our home page before, right? But now you see our home page does not have, if you come to the base, all these other HTML, head, body, all of them that I repeated in contacts page, all of them now transfer to a file called base.html. Let me save it. Then when you come to the home, what you then do is you extend from base, because the file that contains the original structure, we then call it base. So we extend from base, right? Hold on, my battery. Okay. So we extend from base, okay? And now I called that block body. So in between block body, I put all this, my HTML and all this code. So what tends to happen is if I run it this way, and let me go back to our app here, instead of calling base, then we'll call home. Okay, so we called home.html. Now if I run it, when this root goes to pick home, this is what it's going to see. But before it's going to execute this block, it's going to use this line to extend from base. So it goes to base, it picks base, this is where base is. And then all those code I put in home, right? They are now put just here inside of this block. So it's kind of inheriting all of these other codes from the base. So for instance, if I had some JavaScript, which we'll still do later, but for now, just trying to make it fast. If I have some JavaScript and I have linked them to this file in the base, when I come to home, I don't need to have anything to do with that JavaScript again or CSS. I just continue. It's going to pick up all that is in the base and form the home page. Then I move again to contact. Instead of just having it repeat like this, I can clean everything and extend again in contact. So I do it, extend from base.html. So I extend from base.html and block body. We call the block body, and we also have corresponding end block. Okay. So here I can then put the H1 where I say this is our contact page. So you see, instead of me to repeat codes like I did earlier where I copied the HTML, all I'm now doing, I'm inheriting from a base HTML file, which has a structure. I'm copying from that one and I'm forming home. I'm basically extending from those ones to form home and contact. So now if I go back to my root and save the way it is, then test it out. If I refresh, see the contact page is still working. This is our contact. Let me clean it. Going back to the home page is still working. Okay. So now our home is just basically picking some of those structures for the HTML file from here. Now, let's step it a bit further to put in some JavaScript and all. I don't know if you know about Bootstrap. Do you know about Bootstrap? Let me bring back this thing. Bootstrap is like a company. They've kind of already designed some nice HTML components with JavaScript, and you can easily import them into your application if you don't want to build from scratch. Because obviously, when we are developing web pages, you begin to see that I can design a component. Maybe I design a button. That button is still the same button you need. Okay, and that person needs it. So these guys, they just built their platform and created different components. So when you want to build, like a website or an application, instead of you to design everything from scratch, if you don't want, you can take some codes from them, right? Link it to their um, solutions and then use it. So I'll go now to Bootstrap. Bootstrap. So this is it here. This is what people I'm talking about. So let me maximize it. So let me come to the document here, getting started. So I'll just try to pick some things from Bootstrap. Now, this is what you see. You can also do this, go through, read for yourself, try to know it. Even maybe jump on YouTube, look at some videos about Bootstrap to learn more. But I'm going to take key things from here. I can pick up this link. This link here now is for their CSS. I mean, I can always copy everything here because it's just the same HTML document. In my HTML document, there's not much I've added. So I can just copy this whole code. But the key thing to look at in this code is there is a link here for their CSS. And there is a link. They already have a link for their JavaScript already here. With these two links now, my HTML file can come to Bootstrap and pick up some CSS and JavaScript that they've written, and I'll immediately apply it on my page without having to design those components from scratch. So if I copy this, and let's go back to our application. Now, see, I've not really done anything to the HTML page, so I can easily just delete all of this and paste what I copied. It's almost the same thing that was there before. It's just that the title now has Bootstrap. I can modify the title now and say, okay, Flask Learning. Now, we already inherited this link from them. And now in our case, instead of hello world, I can then go back and put my block body. Okay. And then corresponding end block. So now you now see the beauty of inheritance now, because I have links to CSS and JavaScript already here. With this, my home page will just inherit from all those. So when I come to my home page, instead of just putting this like this from Bootstrap, I can take some Bootstrap classes, because one of the important things from Bootstrap is the classes. Okay, so here I create a div and then call it class equals to container. Okay, now I just move all of this. Sorry, Control Z, and let me copy down to this. I move all of them into this container. Okay, this container class is a Bootstrap class already. Typically, if I was designing for those of you who may not really know, if I was designing my CSS myself, I would have gone ahead. If I name this div container, I'll go to my CSS file and I will have a class container. I will now write out the properties for container. Okay, but now because I'm inheriting from Bootstrap, they have a class container. So let's go back and see. This is Bootstrap now. So we've just done like quick start, took this and then modified it. Now I'll go to, they have components here and I'll go to navbar. So in the navbar, you can see an example of a navbar that has different items. If I want to lift this particular example to my code, I'll copy it from here. Okay. And if you go through, you see many other things in the navbar and all that. But what I will do, I will already bring a code that I have already kind of, touched a bit. So to avoid just doing everything in this class, because I'm not really learning Bootstrap, I'm just showing you, you can still come to Bootstrap and try to understand what's going on here. The key things are the Bootstrap classes. If you understand CSS, right? All these classes, now they have written it for you. You just basically inherit from their classes. Okay. So I will just bring what I've already written previously. And put it in our code. But it's basically from here. Okay. It's basically from here. If you understand CSS, you can actually come here and pick some of their classes and some elements. Then when you look at components, you see there are many other components. I'm just dealing with navbar now. There are things you could, buttons, for instance, if you wanted to design a button, you can come here and see different colors of button and all that, and you can pick it into your work, and so on. So this is something I'm just showing so that we can, dive into Bootstrap, especially if you understand HTML and CSS, and it can ease your work when you're doing design. So now our page does not have any style. So I've copied some stuff, which I'll come to the base, and I'll put. So here, what I'm basically putting now is a nav bar. Okay. So this is a nav bar. You see similar to what just picked up from there. And then we have our body. Okay. And also for our body, I want to put our body in some container. So I'll just copy that one. Don't let this confuse you if you've not really understood HTML. That's I'm just showing everything step by step. So now I put this, and instead of hello world, I'll also come here and put our body, block, and call it body as block body and percentage and block. Now let me also just try to explain this as much as I can. It's still the same thing we've been doing, but what I did now, I just brought in all these divs for container, row, column with a little bit of style, just change the color, and I put our body here. So whatever home page is going to throw in is going to just enter in between this place. Before home page you do that, I've already included like a nav bar here. Okay. I've already included like a nav bar, a navigation bar. So let's see what it looks like. These are our base. So hopefully home will pick from there, and then container will pick from there. All those things I just put nice things now. Immediately these two have it inherited. So if I save it and go back to our application and refresh, You see how our application looks. Okay. From those Bootstrap now, Bootstrap's style, I've created this nav bar that is blue with all these icons already open to me. Okay. And then I already have the text centering here. And I colored it aquamarine, this color. You could color it anything you want, styling. Now, if I go to um, contacts, now, you see, it inherits the same thing. So instead of me, when designing contact page, instead of me to go ahead and be designing all of this, instead of me to design all of this, okay, again, all over again, choose this color, choose this nav bar, choose this, put home, put this, all those things, I just did it once under the base template because we're talking about template inheritance, right? So everything is put in the base template. And home, I don't need to repeat it. All I just need to do is to put what I want you to see at home. Of course, I could still style the home further. The elements I put in the home page, I can still style it further. But there are some of the styling that do not need to be repeated. Anything I style now will be particular to home. When I go to contact, I can style things particular to contact. Okay, because inheriting, template inheritance, we are not able to, with Flask, be inheriting from other files using this Flask extend from base or HTML. So you design your base like I was telling you earlier. In the base now, the CSS is there. Is a link to a CSS, but this is from Bootstrap. Then you come to your JavaScript also from Bootstrap. Okay, is it clear? So
Yes.
so far, any question? So okay,
No,
who
no question. Though I missed so much because I'm having serious network challenge.
no problem. That's why I think we recorded the class so you can, when your network is okay, you watch the recording. And I think those that miss the class who can also watch the recording. But at this point, now you now have a lot kind of like work to do yourself. And the work we're expecting you to do is we just threw in Bootstrap, for instance. Instead of you to now start designing all the components from scratch, right? You can just use Bootstrap and it will bring some components for you. So try to understand Bootstrap. You can watch a YouTube about Bootstrap as much as you can. You don't have to know everything, but at least have an appreciation. If you don't have a foundation in HTML and CSS, this part you will now begin to look as if it is confusing. Not, don't be so confused. Just touch HTML and CSS quickly so that you understand because we're going to be, building pages. Flask is used to build application. Remember what we told you in the beginning, like the back end, right? And now we are building what we call a server-side rendered application. So it's going to be in the server side, which is what your app is now trying to do here. When the user requests for the home page, some logic will happen. It will then go and pick the home page, But now we've just gone a step further by designing that home page a little bit more and picking some bootstraps. We'll still use more of that. Then you pick it and display to the user. So that's why I say return render template. Then to give the user because he requested this route. If the user requested the contact, it will pick this route. So we are gradually now stepping up in Flask. Flask is used to build applications. It's a framework that can build applications. So all this will keep improving on it. Okay, we keep improving on it. That's why, as much as you can, try to do what we did on your system, replicate it. If you have questions, that's why we have our own group on WhatsApp. Okay, only members of this class are in the group. feel free to just throw the question there. It's no longer the general group where you just ask questions. People that are not in Flags will be, wondering what you're talking about. But this now is a class. Throw the question there. Even your classmate might be able to say, okay, this is what you should do. I will also respond and we keep learning. So at this point, we'll stop here for today. Let me stop sharing and then